All right, welcome everybody. The time is 6 o'clock. We'll call this meeting to order. First item, Pledge of Allegiance. If we can all please stand. Ready? Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Moving on to item A3, attendance. Ms. Marukin.
Board President Lopez,
Present.
Board Vice President Molina,
Present.
Clerk Tienda,
Present.
Trustee Garza, Trustee Vasquez.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to item B, approval of agenda. Is there a motion for approval?
Motion.
Moved by Mr. Vasquez.
JD.
Is there? Thank you, JD. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Tienda. Is there anyone in the public that wishes to comment on item B, approval of agenda? Just to check, the people that are in those rooms, is there anyone available at that time, just to make sure to give them some time?
Yes, we do.
Yes.
We do have 4 guests in the room with us in the library.
We have 0 except for the school district nurse.
And I'm having a technical difficulty on mine. I'm having the translator come in, but I'm not having the audio from everybody else. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Lopez, can you hear us now?
Oh, there we go. Yes.
Okay, so in the library, we have 4 folks with us,
Okay.
plus our district admin.
All right. And just making sure I called for any discussion on item B, approval of agenda. Okay, seeing none, we'll bring it back to the board. Any questions or clarifications? Seeing none, all those in favor of approval of agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries, voice vote. Moving on to item C, presentations, reports. C1, distance learning, Mr. Diaz.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Handed out to everybody. We have the distance learning update. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that it's on there. Okay, let's see if we'll try to get the feedback down. Okay, so we're going to share a screen here. Nope. Okay, I can't share my screen. Okay, does everybody have a handout? I have to figure out this feedback here. Okay. All right, so we're going to share over the. We're going to try to move away from the speaker. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we have our distance learning update. So far, what we've been looking at for students checking in on the online learning environment. There we have the averages for you. Berletic has averaged last week 20.28 students per class. This week they're averaging, what's that? No, it's standing by the speakers, what's causing the feedback. Okay. Yeah, I apologize. Berletic then averages 19.28 students this week. And then again, you can read the averages on Benavides, having 23.88 and 22.64 this week. Chavez was 17.25 and 17.18 this week. And then Martinez at 21.42, and this week averaging 20.64. The junior high school averaged 327 students logging in per period last week. This week, they've averaged 317 per period. The high school takes their attendance a little different, and so their check-in per teacher on a daily rate. Last week, each teacher averaged 30.55 students checking in for the day. And then this week, high school teachers have averaged 29.13 students checking in on a daily rate. As far as our technology goes, we've handed out 2,827 devices. We've checked out 126 hotspots, and our tech team has handled 615 phone calls, 77 voicemails, totaling 892 work tickets. As far as the C&I support, we are meeting with the school administrators twice a week. We're reviewing any issues going on with distance learning. This week's issues have included grading questions, students staying online longer than the teacher, and student behaviors while in the online learning environment. We are working with technology and the site admin, as well as Google, to try to problem shoot these issues. Happy to answer any questions for you.
Are there any questions from the board?
Yeah, I do. Do we get graded? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. Now, are the kids getting graded on the material that they're doing? Or, I mean, how is that being charted?
No, we are not grading simply because we are not taking attendance. And at the time of handing out technology and making sure we had equitable access, we determined that it was not appropriate to be grading kids when we could not ensure equity, that all students had access to the teachers and to the curriculum.
Any other questions? Yeah, could you elaborate a little bit more on what you mean when you would say that the students stay longer online than the teacher? Isn't it when the meeting closes, it closes, doesn't it? Or I'm not understanding what that means.
No, so we're utilizing Google Meets. And the reason we utilized it was because we already have a Google certification. We have Google Classroom. And so a lot of our teachers already understood the Google suite. What we didn't anticipate was that Google Meets, once you set up the room, the teacher can leave the room, but the room stays open. So the students were figuring out, if we stay in here longer after the teacher leaves, the students were staying on and having their own conversations. In essence, what it turned into was recess.
And then just to elaborate on Joe's part, at other schools, they are doing the same thing. They are having instruction not be graded according to what was the directive from, I guess, the county soup and just kind of the leanings of how to handle things. It was determined that there's kind of a freeze, just like our ADA. From this point forward, we're just kind of handling as it goes because there is no new material necessarily being provided. It's hard to justify having an actual grade for the items that these kids are doing. Mr. Diaz, if I'm not mistaken, is that correct?
No, that's correct. That was the determination that we had made, knowing that students would not have the same support as they would if they were in the classroom.
Any other questions in regards to C1? Yes, Mr. Molina.
So it says here we passed out 2,700 devices, right? How many people do we know didn't check out devices because they had their own? Do we have a total?
That I don't have, sorry. I can find that out for you though from our technology department.
That way we know like how many students that are still getting the curriculum, but yet they're not because they have their own technology rather.
Okay.
And as far as I do know that even though they're not getting, it's not counting towards their overall grade, the teachers are checking their work as far as whether they got it right or wrong. Because I see with my daughter when she does her online, she's online and her teacher does check her work. However, as far as it going towards her grade, I'm not sure about that, but I do know that they are checking their work.
Yeah, right now it's the assigned of a numeric value that would equal a grade. That's what we're not doing. The teachers are checking for understanding. They are checking for accuracy. They are providing feedback. That is all part of Google Classroom and the Google Grading Suite. So that does happen and the students are receiving feedback.
That's it. That's all I got.
One thing I want to add,
Yes.
I know there's been a discussion in regards to, the no grades and the students, some students asking, well, why do I have to do the work if we're not getting graded? We have to remember, and I think it's important for parents to reiterate to their students that just because they're not getting a grade doesn't mean that learning is not important. Because no matter what, as Parlor Unified, high quality education is still the responsibility. And I know that that's what all the teachers and everyone's been working towards. So just making sure that we instill that learning is that's what we do. Teaching is what the district does. And so just making sure that our students remember that and remember that it's important in order for them to get ahead, they have to learn. Another thing in regards to the 126 hotspots checked out, maybe I missed it. Those are part of your unified hotspots that were distributed?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. And so those, did the parents reach out that they
Yes.
needed? Oh,
Yeah,
perfect.
so parents, so we indicated they could call us from the hotline. If they indicated to their site administrator that they needed Wi-Fi access, they could go that route. The administrators referred them to the hotline. So that way we could chart and keep track of where the hotspots were going.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I got another question.
Yes, Joe.
So if we're gonna go with, because I know some schools are going with their last grading period. Okay, and some people can pick up their grades if they do the work.
Mhm.
I mean, am I correct or not correct?
Yeah, that's correct. That's called hold harmless.
Yes, okay, so then, I mean, are we doing that? Or how are we gonna grade our kids? Are we just saying, as of the last day that we had, that's their letter grade and it's not gonna get better if we're not grading their stuff?
No, so there are some options. Once we have a final determination of our school instruction calendar, at that point, we can determine going forward what options we want to do. The hold harmless option would allow students to know that their final grade was from the third quarter. Going forward, they could have the opportunity to improve that third quarter grade, which again would be their final grade. And any new learning going on during the fourth quarter is simply for review and feedback from the teacher. The other option you could potentially look at, what again other districts are doing, is the credit, no credit, where work is being scored and it's it's provided either credit, no credit, so that when the student gets to the end of the fourth quarter, it's obviously credit, no credit. And so the one district is still doing letter grades. And so those are the three options that you're looking at within the Central Valley.
And so what are we using? Because if not, we're already been a month through this already. So then
Correct.
what formula are we using to see this, to be able to help our students?
Right now, we are frozen grades. So from March 13th in the third quarter, that is the frozen grade. And then we are giving feedback via the any learning going on online. Once we have a determination of if we're extending closure or not, we'll engage with the teachers and administration on how we'll determine the final grade.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Diaz. You're up next with item C2, federal program monitoring.
Yeah, let me grab my other update here. I think the feedback may be better now. Okay, we should be better. Okay. All right, so on FPM, oh, shoot. Oh, we're not next to the speaker. Okay, no worries. Okay, so FPM review, we're happy to report that we've cleared 2 more items, fiscal management 03 and early learning and care 04. These 2 items were both submitted for review. Fiscal management 3, or I'm sorry, I apologize. Fiscal management 2, FMO2 is waiting for a response. We understand that there's 1 item that needs to be checked off, and as soon as that Title III approval document is checked off, FMO2 will be cleared. We are waiting for a response from Uniform Complaint Procedures 01, and then we should have a pretty good clearance for 2, 5, and 6 after we get the response for 1. Today, the district participated in a call with CDE, and we presented, and we were able to gain immediate feedback on 6 of the EL areas, EL3, EL14, and EL15. This also addresses the findings from the 17-18 review, EL6, 18, and 19. CDE did state they were very happy with the presentation and will work with the district in uploading the evidence in order to satisfy the evidence compliance piece. So that was done tonight before the board meeting. The reviewer has already indicated she will respond back to us by Monday. Our next area of focus with Dr. Shepard will be the education equity piece. We are already in communication with the reviewer for that area, and we'll see what the reviewer specifically is asking for her updates. Happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions? Is there anyone Joe?
Yeah, on this on FPM review. Now, these are our findings for the last 2 years.
No. So the findings are from, you have a review that happened in 17-18, and there were still outstanding items from that. Of that review, these are the only 3 remaining on there. Once these 3 items are cleared, the 17-18 review is done and off the books. The current review that we're on right now is the items that we've been presenting to you. And so that's where we're at right now with the current 19-20 review.
Any other questions? So, Mr. Diaz, as far as the projection that you gave last time, and is there anything that's major that has changed since then that we need to be aware of? Is there anything that we need to move? Is there some item that you think that we're not going to be able to do based on the timeline you provided to us?
No, I think our timeline is actually still good. We've actually been giving a consideration to Mr. Molina's question last board meeting about could we do virtual meetings in regards to the ELACs and the DLACs. That was a topic we did discuss with CDE today because that impacts 3 more findings within EL. And they are supportive of us doing virtual meetings. We just need to make sure that we have adequate technology that we can support our parents in conducting such a meeting. Other than that, that's the only other major thing that's come up. We're in communication with the different reviewers Each of these reviewers is very unique to which they're asking for. There's been nothing uniformed about each of the different areas.
All right. Thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah, I do. So is Ms. Shepherd going to be able to fulfill the contract that we gave her?
I think he froze. The question I understood was, will Dr. Shepherd be able to fulfill the contract?
Okay, I did, but okay, there.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, is she going to be able to fulfill the contract that we contracted her for? Because I know we got this said that we might have to add her on for more days.
We should be able to fulfill everything within the contract. We're pushing hard to get everything done.
Okay.
All right. Any other question? Okay, seeing none. Thank you, sir. We are moving on to item D, routine consent agenda. In order to promote effective meetings, the board may bundle a number of items and act upon them together by a single vote through the use of a consent agenda. Consent agenda items shall be items of a routine nature and items for which board discussion is not anticipated and for which the superintendent recommends approval. Is there a motion to approve item D?
Motion.
Moved by Ms. Tienda. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded. Mr. Garza. Is there anyone in the public that wishes to comment on item D? Seeing none, is there any questions or clarification? Yes.
So you spoke on what we talked. Right over here. Okay, hello, Mr. Vasquez, Ms. Lopez, Mr. Lopez.
Could you come closer to the mic?
There's the camera, the mic's right here.
Okay, hello, Mr. Diaz and I, along with Monica Cuyasto and Samantha Wagner, spoke in depth about C1 distance learning, and we had a wonderful conversation. And what he brought up was what we wanted. We did the research and we saw Sanger, and we said we can do that. Because what we're doing right now is very exhausting. Our teachers are exhausted. I'm a PE teacher, I'm a doer.
If I can just hold off for a second right now. If you are referencing C1, if I can ask you to hold those comments to open, just because we are now on item D, consent agenda.
Thank you.
Okay.
And confusion.
No worries. Is there anyone else in the public that wishes to comment on item D? Okay, seeing none. Are there any questions or clarifications from the board? Seeing none, all those in favor of routine consent agenda, item D, please signify by saying aye. All those opposed? Motion carries, voice vote. Moving on to item E, general agenda. Item E1, first reading, board policy 6157, distance learning. Mr. Diaz.
Okay, yes, so presented for you tonight is a first reading of the distance policy. This is a brand new board policy. CSBA has just released it. And the purpose of this is in these new trying times due to the COVID-19 pandemic, CSBA is recommending for school districts to take a look at this distance learning board policy. Happy to answer any questions for you.
Just to clarify, this is gamut language,
Yes, sir.
uniform across the state.
Gamut.
Are there any questions from the public in regards to E1? Oh, actually, it is first reading, so we need to just acknowledge that it is being read for the first time. Mr. Diaz, can you just give us a quick synopsis of anything that stands out in that particular reading?
The main points of it that stand out are that it calls for the opportunities of distance learning to look different in each district. So it's not necessarily calling for technology only. It does refer to technology. It does call for packets. It does call for video. It does call for several different items that can be used as part of distance learning. So it does offer that flexibility that they can look different in each district. It also does call for that school districts are still expected to provide student services and support services. So we want to make sure that we continue to do that. And then the final item that it does call for that each school district is to provide its own grading guidelines.
Thank you. At this portion, is there any one that cares to put in, have input on item E1 in the public? Is there any questions from the board on the first reading? So, Mr. Diaz, since you had said about the grading policies or guidelines, is there something that we as a district are going to put forward to our teachers to kind of follow, or are we going to allow them to have their own individual item? How are we going to handle that differentiated grading?
No, we do have a couple of options that were discussed. We've been collecting what different districts have been doing, and moving forward, we'll have a uniformed policy after the next day or two.
Okay. Thank you. Any other question or clarification?
Yeah, so is that grading going to be incorporated into this policy? So it's a universal grading system, or is it going to be pretty much left on the teachers to do it on their own? Say, for instance, we do come in next year and we're back to distant learning. So we're not going to we're not be able to go back to the previous grades. We're going to have to start from the gate. So that means their grades are going to start from day one. So we're going to have to figure out a grading system day one. That way they do get a grade, because if not, they're not going to get a grade. So is that going to be incorporated into this, or are we going to have a different policy for that?
No, the board policy is more of the directive that we will have a grading policy or grading guidelines. The how of how we will do the grading guidelines, administration would obviously share that with the board. That'll be in collaboration with site administrators, district administrators, and then of course in collaboration with our teachers. But it'll still be a uniformed, whether this year or should this happen ever again and we need to revert back to it, we would be able to pull out, here's how we do the grading policy, and we can go forward because we know it's already been a collaboratively built guideline.
Okay, thank you. Any other input? Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to item E2, adopt resolution number 30-1920, proclaiming May 5th, 2020 as California Day of the Teacher, Inspiring Generations. Mr. Griffin.
Good evening. May 5th, 2020 has been noted as California's Day of the Teacher, the theme being Inspiring Generations. We recommend approval for this resolution as a way to honor and recognize the work done by teachers across our district.
Is that classified week or teacher appreciation?
Classified week is a different week.
Is that the one?
I'll get to that in item E3.
Oh, they didn't give us a paper on that. No. Oh, no. Mhm. Sorry, sir.
No worries. Okay. Awesome, thank you. Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Garza,
Second.
seconded by Ms. Tienda. Is there anyone in the public that wishes to comment on E2? Okay, seeing none. Any questions or clarifications from the board?
I want to say thank you to all teachers. Keep up the great work.
Thank you, sir. Anything else? All right. All those in favor of adopting resolution 30-19-20, proclaiming May 5th as
Aye.
Hey, so why don't we have a teacher one?
okay, because I was trying to find that too, and I couldn't see it on my attachments, but I see that it's listed on there. I just couldn't bring it up. If you can do us the honor, please, now that we've passed it, Ms. Tienda.
Okay. Day of the Teacher. Whereas May 5th, 2020 is the California Day of the Teachers, and whereas Parlier Unified School District wishes to honor our teachers and express appreciation for their dedication to our students, and whereas Parlier Unified teachers play a vital role in preparing our students for college, career, and community. And whereas the 2020 California Day of the Teacher allows Parlier Unified School District to recognize and acknowledge all teachers as a deserving group of talented professionals. And whereas the theme of the 2020 California Day of the Teacher is Inspiring Generations. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Parlier Unified School District Board of Trustees hereby recognizes and wishes to honor the contributions of certificated professionals to quality education in Parlier Unified School District and declares May 5th, 2020 as Day of the Teacher in Parlier Unified School District.
Thank you, Ms. Tienda.
Welcome.
You're navigating the technology better than I am here. All right. Thank you. Moving on to item, we need a vote. Already voted. Okay. Moving on to item E3, adopt resolution number 31-19-20, proclaiming May 17th through the 23rd, 2020 as California Classified Employee Week, Inspiring Generations. Mr. Griffin.
Classified School Employee Week acknowledges and celebrates the valuable services that each classified employee provides to our students, staff, and schools. Minor correction there, the theme for 2020 Classified School Employees Week is 2020 Vision, Celebrating Classified Professionals. We recommend passing the resolution honoring our classified employees during the week of May 17th through the 23rd, 2020.
Thank you, sir. Is there a motion for approval?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Garza. Is there a second? Seconded by Mr. Vasquez. Anyone in the public wishes to comment on E3? Seeing none, any questions or clarifications from the board?
I just want to thank again all classified employees. Keep up the great work.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? All right, moving on. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries, voice vote. Then Ms. Tina, do you have that resolution available?
I do.
If you can read that too, please.
All right. Classified School Employee Week. Whereas May 17th through the 23rd, 2020 is California Classified School Week. And whereas Parlier Unified School District wishes to honor our classified school employees and express appreciation for their dedication to our students. And whereas Parlier Unified Classified School employees strive for excellence in areas relative to the educational community. And whereas California Employee Week allows Parlier Unified School District to recognize and acknowledge all classified employees as a deserving group of talented professionals. And whereas the theme of the 2020 California Classified School Employee Week is 2020 Vision, Celebrating Classified Professionals. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Parlier Unified School District Board of Trustees hereby recognizes and wishes to honor the contributions of classified school employees to quality education in Parlier Unified School District and declares May 17th through the 23rd, 2020 as Classified School Employee Week in Parlier Unified School District.
Thank you, Ms. Tienda.
Welcome.
Moving on to item E4, approve the declaration of need for fully qualified educators. Mr. Griffin.
Thank you. By submitting a declaration, the district is certifying that the following has been done: a diligent search as defined on the attached declaration to recruit a fully prepared teacher for the assignments that were offered and made. And if a suitably fully prepared teacher is not available to the district will make a reasonable effort to recruit based on need. The numbers you see reflected in the attachment are similar to last year's number. The declaration does not say we will hire non-credentialed teachers. It just gives us the authority to do so if a fully credentialed teacher is not available.
Thank you, sir. Is there a motion to approve E4?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Garza. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Vasquez. Is there anyone in the public that wishes to comment on E4? Seeing none, any questions or clarifications from the board?
Yeah, I just want to clarify that the school district is doing everything that we can to make sure we hire quality teachers. But in case we don't, this is what we have in place as a plan B, correct?
That is correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. All those in favor of approval of E4 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries, voice vote. Moving on to item E5, intent to employ under the provisions of a variable term waiver. Mr. Griffin.
Thank you. We have 2 employees, ROTC teachers, who are currently enrolled in coursework to complete their credential. Under the provisions of a variable term waiver, they are given the opportunity to waive the CLAD credential authorization for the term of which time it takes them to complete that coursework. We ask for your approval.
Thank you, sir. Is there a motion for approval? Motion by Mr. Garza, seconded by Ms. Tienda. Is there anyone in the public that wishes to comment on E5? Seeing none, any questions or clarifications from the board? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries, voice vote. Moving on to item E6, approve resolution number 261920 of the Board of Trustees of Parlier Unified School District, certifying to the Board of Supervisors of Fresno County all proceedings in the March 3rd, 2020 general obligation bond election. Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you. Yes, on E6, what we're asking tonight of the board is to approve resolution that's attached with further details, but basically saying that in Measure D, like we did with Measure H, we must certify the results, and the board again needs to approve this according to the law. So as it states there, basically we must at this time certify the results so that we can move to the next step. And that next step would be to make sure that these results get to the appropriate places, which would be the FCSS, Fresno County, and then also a note there stating that they must send a copy of that to the clerk as far as the Board of Supervisors. So that's where we're at on this particular Measure D. That's the most recent that took place March 3rd of 2020. Once we do this and the resolution is reviewed and passed by the board, then we would continue on, like I said earlier, send the results, making sure FCSS gets a copy to the clerk, moving forward to then getting a bond oversight committee like we do with Measure H. So just so that the board and the public know that this is an ongoing process, it must be done according to the law. And so that's the step where we are at now. And again, thanks to the public, this is Measure D that was passed recently. And so we are making sure to do everything we possible to follow the proper steps and protocol.
Thank you very much, sir. Is there a motion for approval of E6?
Motion.
Moved by Mr. Garza. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Vasquez. Is there anyone in the public that wishes to comment on E6? Okay, saying none, any questions or clarifications from the board? Saying none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries, voice vote. Moving on to item E7, resolution number 28-1920 of the Board of Trustees of Parlor Unified School District authorizing the issuance and sale of general obligation bonds, election of 2018 Series B in the aggregate principal amount of not to exceed $4 million and approving related documents and actions. Mr. Rodriguez.
Okay, so again, for clarification, this here is for Measure H, and that was done in 2018. That has gone through the full process as far as, and the reason we are at this place now is because we are up to the point to selling a part of the Measure H. We've sold already Part A. We are now into Part B, or as it's indicated, Series B. And what we're looking to get from this bond sale is up to the 4 million and not to exceed. If it is fully executed to 4 million, then we would have 1.9 million left, and that would be the total left in the Measure H. So just again, for clarification, Measure H was a total of 9 million. We have already received 3.1 million. And this here, what we're asking for, Series Bond, Series B would be for up to the amount of 4 million. That is not an amount that we can guarantee, but it would be up to the 4 million. So it may be 3, it may be 3.5, but we cannot exceed the 4. So we're asking for the approval as far as for the bond sale to be able to take place, and so that we can move forward with getting the necessary money to build what we have in the facilities master plan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rodriguez. Is there a motion for approval?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Garza. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Vasquez. Is there anyone in the public that wishes to comment on E7? Seeing none, any questions or clarifications from the board? All right. All those in favor of approving resolution 2019-20 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries, voice vote. Moving on to item E8, resolution 29-1920 of the Board of Trustees of Parlor Unified School District, specifically designating public works projects as necessary for school operations. Ms. Affronti.
Yes, good evening. This resolution is based on the governor's order, and in conjunction with federal guidance, school construction is considered critical infrastructure. It allows the district to list the projects that it has, it is expecting to complete or begin between now and over the summer, and allows us to designate them as necessary to maintain the continuity of our school operations.
Thank you. Is there a motion for approval of E8? Motion. Motion by Mr. Garza. Seconded by Ms. Tienda. Anyone in the public wish to comment on E8? Seeing none, any questions or clarifications from the board? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries, voice vote. Moving on to item F, public comment on open and closed session agenda items. Pursuant to Board Bylaw 9323, individual speakers shall be allowed up to 3 minutes to address the board on each agenda or non-agenda item. The board shall limit the total time of public input on agenda items to 15 minutes. The board shall also limit the total time of public input on non-agenda items under public comment to 20 minutes. Since we didn't get the yellow papers to start, I know that sent that right over to, I think it was PFA that was going to be talking. If not, who's ever up is more than welcome to.
We have 3 groups of speakers.
Okay.
So I'll have the first introduce themselves, and then after you introduce yourselves and begin talking, I'll let you know, I'm sorry, the timer, you have 3 minutes to address the board.
3 each?
If you want to do separately, but otherwise 3 combined. Okay? Go ahead.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
Good evening. Good evening, board. My name is Margaret Cepeda, and I'm here as a senior parent.
My name's Alma Beltran. I'm here as well as for a senior parent.
Okay. So we are here tonight to reach out to you, board, faculty, staff, everybody, to help with for your assistance in creating banners for our seniors throughout this whole COVID and possibly no graduation, you know, and the kids just losing out on their whole entire senior year, what they worked so hard for. We came together and we were wanting to make banners for all of the seniors and have them hang all up and down Main Street. We're wanting to honor our top academic seniors at Heritage Park, which we have 25 light poles. We would start the banners from Zedeker down Main Street, all the way to Mendocino and down Newmark if needed. We already found somebody to make the banners for us and we're getting them really cheap. We did go out and we did look for donors, which I reached out to Lions Club and I reached out to the Parlier Roundup, which all thought it was a great idea since, you know, we all want to support our seniors during this, you know, they're missing out on a milestone. So we're coming to you, the school board, to ask for your help as far as we would need to know the names of the seniors. I believe there's like 200, over 200. So we would need the names of the seniors, your top 25 academic, and we need help from you guys as far as like, you know, their names, so we don't miss out on any. Right. It'll be similar to my daughter Belle's Veterans Banner Program. The banners will not be as big. They're gonna be 2x4s. And down Main Street, we'll hang 2 seniors per light pole. Well, not the actual senior, but the banner.
And we would also like to find out if it's possible for you to help us, you know, with the funding as well, if it's possible. We do have parents that are donating. A lot of senior parents are also donating. We have contractors that want to donate for the cause, and also businesses, local businesses. So whatever you can do to help us will mean a lot to us, because we want to come in and do something for the seniors, because they are missing out a lot. They missed out on so much that, you know, they are an essential to us. So we should prioritize them and try to do something positive for them. So that's what we would like to see. Okay.
He said our time's up.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think he has a question.
Clarifying question. Do you know the total amount that is needed for the entire project, and how much do you need at this point?
The total amount, I believe, is $6,750.
How much is it per banner?
$30. So 30 times whatever, but that's what we kind of averaged it at.
For 120 students.
No, 200.
200, I'm sorry,
200.
220 students at $30.
And that was Parlier High School and the San Joaquin as well, or is that only Parlier High School?
Well,
This is Parlier High School.
well, we're working on the San Joaquin as well, because I know that there's some parents that were asking. about that. And I kind of do feel that even though they might have gone through some challenges, you know, but they're still completing something. So whatever you can do to help us, it means a lot.
The whole layout though would be different from the high schools. And I have an example. I don't know. You want me to hold my phone up so you guys can see it?
Maybe you could email it to one of us.
Okay.
Yes, we'll send you the information if you need any more information.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, thanks.
Exercise.
So, Mr. Griffin, you had noted that there was 3 speakers. That's one. Is there somebody else to call up?
Yes, the second group are 2 Parlier High School senior students that would like to address the board.
Hi, everyone. How are you? My name is Caitlin Morphine, and I am the very proud senior class president here at Parlier High School.
Hi, my name is Isabel Gonzalez, and I am the very proud vice president of the senior class.
So we are here to address a very important matter to you all. We were under the impression that we're not sure if it was going to be discussed. We're not sure if these options were already brought to your guys' attention. But we, as a senior class, got together, spoke to the rest of the class, of course, because there are a lot of decisions that we're not able to make on our own. And we asked the class, you know, this is your guys' year as much as it is ours. And we asked what they think would be possible, what they would like to see for us to have a graduation. I know with this whole COVID, there are a lot of, there are certain guidelines, you know, I'm with the Fresno County Health Office and stuff like that. So if, in which case you guys weren't aware of the 3 options that our class is just bringing to your guys' attention that we would possibly like to see happen. The first would be to hold off until September, just because if you guys are unaware, the governor of California, Governor Newsom, said that he doesn't see any traditional ceremonies happening from now up until August. So we were hoping that you guys would be able to either hold off until September, October to have a traditional graduation as we believe that we deserve and we would really want. The second option is to have a somewhat traditional graduation at the Parlier High School football field, where it is just the student and their parents, of course, walking 6 feet apart from your classmate in front of you. And we are still able to cross the stage as we are handed our diplomas. The last and final option that we were given was the drive-through option, as I'm sure you guys have seen, where it is just, you know, in your car, you dress in your cap and gown, and you receive your diploma. We are here to bring these up to you guys, and as well as we would like to stress that our class is really pushing for option number 1. As seniors, we've waited 13 years for an opportunity this big, and for us to just have been, you know, this to have been taken away from us, we would really appreciate if you guys were to take that option into consideration.
And we do understand that the board, as well as everybody involved with the school, is having to go through laws and guidelines as to how you could make this happen or as to what you can do for our class. But as we spoke to a lot of our class, most of our class would want a traditional graduation, and we understand the situation that you guys are in. But we are asking that you guys do everything you can to, or just wait long enough to see what happens, because no one really knows how long this could go off, but to be able to do everything in your power to give us a traditional graduation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you. And is there anybody else in there that wishes to address the board?
Yes, we have one more speaker, PFA President, Mr. Reyes.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to make this quick. Mr. Diaz and I had a great conversation with Ms. Monica Collazo, our VP, Ms. Wagner, our secretary, about distance learning today. And I believe we're going to have something great for our students. We teachers are so grateful for the E2 and E3, I believe they were. Thank you for recognizing teachers in CSCA. Everybody's working so hard, and teachers right now are exhausted. We're tired, and we're proud. We're really doing the best we can. Sometimes it's not seeing what we do at night. I have so many emails of teachers emailing, texting at midnight, 1, 2 in the morning. Dr. Alvarado emailing me at 4:30 in the morning and just making sure we get our stuff right. So Ms. Morphine, Ms. Gonzalez, I would like to cede my time to you. If you would like to have anything else you'd like to speak to them about. You've got 3 minutes. Okay. So thank you, everyone. Teachers love what we're doing. We're exhausted. And thank you, Mr. Diaz, for helping us out. Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mr. Reyes. As generous as Mr. Reyes was, thank you very much. We just want to, again, like we said, bring this to your guys' attention. Please, please put yourselves in the shoes of those who are parents of a senior. Put yourself in the shoes of seniors. I mean, we missed out on our grad night, unfortunately, but we are hoping that we will not be able to miss out on our graduation, that we are able to walk across the stage in our cap and gowns, turn our tassels, throw up the, we're so excited for what can happen. So we hope that you guys can actually make it happen, please. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you again.
That's all.
Okay, is there anyone in the other room? Okay. Seeing none?
No.
Thank you. No, thank you. Moving on, item G, board member report, superintendent's report. We'll just go clockwise here. Mr. Molina?
I just want to thank our teachers and our classified staff for working so hard. I know it's been tough. So just want to thank them. I see all the hard work they're doing. And other than that, I got nothing else to report.
Thank you. Ms. Tienda?
Same as everyone. Thank you to everyone that's been doing and being there despite and doing what we need to do for our students all the way around. Also, I want to say thank you for the invitation, Parlier High School. I was able to attend, I call it the reverse parade. I'm not sure if there's an official name for it, but I'm glad that I was able to attend it. And one thing that I realized, but I didn't realize it until being there, was a lot of, this was a class when I first started teaching at the junior high. So they were my 7th graders, and now they are seniors and they are to graduate. So it was something special being able to see them and go by and picking up their cap and gown for graduation. So it was a neat event that the high school did. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Vasquez?
And thank all the cafeteria staff. And I don't know how they're delivering the foods to the certain apartments and the camp, but those numbers keep getting bigger and bigger. And so just to thank them for supplying that need for our community. I'm good.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Vasquez. Mr. Garza?
Yeah, I just want to echo what the board has said. Thank all employees across the board for their hard work. We know this is a challenging time, but everyone seems to be stepping up to the occasion and going above and beyond for our students. And again, to the nurses, classified staff, all the teachers, admin, everyone. Thank you again for doing this, and hopefully we'll get through this soon, and we'll see you guys back in school.
Awesome, thank you. As far as for me, I just have a communication that I received from Fresno County that I just wanted to share with the board. It is in regards to a positive certification that we got for our financial submission and received a positive certification identifying that based on current projections, the district will meet its financial obligations for the current fiscal year and subsequent 2 fiscal years. And then there's quite a bit of other items and stuff that are listed in that letter, but just wanted to bring it to the board's attention and also to the community that the work of making sure that we navigate the current situation. We have 2 bonds that are also out there for hopefully construction of new items, and the county has overseen that and has given us a positive projection for this year and the next 2. So thank you to the business department for keeping that in a positive light for us. And echoing with everybody else, you know, I appreciate the teachers, everyone that is that touches the lives of students every day, even though we're distancing. It is valued, and just hearing the little kids when we were on the parade, how much they do miss their teachers, and likewise how much the teachers miss their kids. So we do have a very special place here in Parlier. So thank you, all those of you that are out there, and same goes out to the seniors. You know, it is a milestone, and we'll definitely see what we can possibly do to get that for you guys. And lastly, Mr. Robles.
Yes, good evening, everybody. Couple of things that we'll need to discuss once we get into closed session. The first being that currently we are scheduled to return to school on May 4th. And should the district decide to extend the closure, we'll need to give people notice as soon as possible. So I'm hoping we can engage in that conversation in closed session. The second item that we will need to discuss is the May 12 board study session. We have had the practice of sticking to essential business. And so my recommendation for your consideration would be that we eliminate the board study session and convert that back to a regular board meeting so that we can conduct the regular business of the district, knowing that in these uncertain times, the situation could change drastically between now and May 26th, which would be the next time we would meet. So that would be something that I would ask for your direction on once we are in closed session. I would also like to reiterate a point that Mr. Diaz made earlier. Should the board decide to extend the closure, we do have options for how grading would look. Remember that we've been operating under the premise that we would be back in school on May 4th, and therefore grading would go back to looking like normal because we would be back in school. Should the district decide to extend the closure, we do have some options of what grading could look like moving forward. And then lastly, regarding the very, very critical, very super important topic of graduation. We expect communication and direction for the Fresno County Department of Public Health this week regarding what their criteria would be for holding any year-end ceremonies or programs. And remember, we're talking about senior scholarship night. We're talking about employee recognition at the end of the year. We're talking about graduation. So there is a number of year-end events that will now be governed by the criteria established by the Fresno County Department of Public Health, which I was hoping to have a draft of that recommendation this evening for you. It has not yet arrived, but as soon as we get that communication, we will share it with all of you, and that will help inform our decision on what year-end activities will look like. Okay, I'd like to reiterate how extremely hard folks are working, how much they have stepped up to the challenge, and how in these very uncertain times, they have found a way to serve students. So I really, really want to thank the board for their courageous leadership, and I want to thank our staff, either working in district or working remotely, for all that they are doing to serve our students and our community. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. At this time, we will be adjourning into closed session. Item H, items for discussion will be H1, certificated personnel report. H2, conference with labor negotiations. We will now be moving to closed session. The time is 7:04.